Hello, hello, hello. So today's story is about the one question people keep asking me the most is, if I was born a healer, then when did I finally realize I was a healer? I'll answer that after this. All right. So the main question that I'm being asked is, when did I realize I was able to heal? When did I realize I was an intuitive medical healer? Well, here's the answer. It was a few years back. Not really for sure, can't really pinpoint it, but my dad had been rushed to the hospital 2 days in a row. He was having problems breathing. So the second day he went to a hospital. The first day I didn't go. Let me start from there. The first day I didn't go to the emergency room because my sister had went and told me that everything was fine. But the second day, come on, 2 days in a row, you're going to panic. So I get up, I run down there because I want to know what's going on with my dad. So my sister and I finally get a chance to go back there the first time, and as soon as I stepped through those doors, I started like getting really hot. My hands started getting hot. They started vibrating. I started vibrating, and then I started hearing something in my head, and I started seeing things in my head. Not really for sure what this meant, but it only happened when I went through these doors. So we went back there to talk to my dad, and I'm ignoring what's going on with me, but I'm just like, something ain't right. I feel really weird. So I ignore it, talk to my dad for a little while, then I go back outside those doors. As soon as I step through those doors, everything stopped. Still not connecting. As the day goes on and we're able to go back there and talk to my dad a little bit longer than we were the first time, I walked through those doors, I started vibrating again. And when I tell you this time, it was like everything on my body was vibrating. Not to get too personal or too graphic, but even private areas, like everything on my body started vibrating, but I chose to ignore it. I started getting hot. The palms of my hands started getting red, and I just thought, hey, I'm sick. Maybe something's wrong with me. But I ignored it because it wasn't about me. It was all about my dad. So I'm walking past all these older people who were like veterans, and they're like needing attention, medical attention. But I started paying attention that when I stood in a certain area, those who were there next to me started feeling better. Okay, so then when I moved away, they had no more of that pain. Me still not paying attention, I would just hear these things. So then we get to where my dad is, and there's a curtain, and my dad is on one side of the curtain, and there's an elderly gentleman on the other side of the curtain. Mind you, my dad is there because he's having problems breathing. He was told he had COPD, but as they're telling him this, something in my head again is telling me no, he does not have COPD. As this was going on, the older gentleman on the other side of the curtain, he was having problems breathing. And they were like, they were telling him to get him an oxygen mask. Well, the more that I kept hearing my dad didn't have COPD, the more something was also telling me, you can heal him. You can heal everybody here. Just take a deep breath. And I took this deep breath, and all of a sudden I visualized and saw this light coming from me, and it had spread it out. It had just spread it out, and it kind of almost covered the whole entire emergency room. And again, I saw this in my head. Okay, so the more that this light got bigger and stronger, the more the man on the other side of the curtain started not having any symptoms of any pain or problem. You could hear him gasping for air before, but then all of a sudden I just heard it calm down. Again, I'm thinking I'm making this up in my head. What the heck is going on? Then something says, you're doing it, do it some more. And I'm like, what? How am I healing people, but I'm not healing my dad? I'm hearing the doctor telling my dad all these things that he has to take and all these things. And then again, something's telling me, your dad does not have COPD. He's just clogged with mucus in his lungs. You need to clear that out. So I'm like, whatever. Let me just pay attention to what's going on with my dad. Again, this man on the other side of the curtain does not need an oxygen mask. I'm telling you, nobody was paying attention more than I was. So then they released my dad and they let him go home. And we're at my dad's house, and I don't know if you guys know, but I'm also a medium. My dad's mother pops up, and she's a little worried, but she's not really worried about my dad. She's worried about her other kids that's going through. I expressed my grandma concerns to my dad, and he's just like, wow. So me and him go upstairs to his room, and he's laying down, and he's coughing, and he's hacking, and he's just not feeling good. Something pops in my head, take it away from him. So I'm like, huh? Hack? So then it said healing. All of a sudden, I had this urge to put my hands together again, to heal my dad. I had this urge to healing. As I'm doing this, I start to see in my head a gold ladle. You guys know what a ladle is, right? It's that spoon that they use to dip out punch, or they might use it for gravy. A ladle, okay? So I see this gold ladle, and it dips down, no hands or nothing. It just dips down into my dad's lungs, and it scoops out mucus. And it does it like 3 or 4 times. It's a gold ladle. My dad is hacking and everything, and something tells me, let him know this is a part of the process. So I say, Dad, anything coming up, spit it out, because it's coming out. I'm pushing it out. As this is going on, my dad is spitting, he's coughing, he's hacking, he's doing all this stuff. Then, I don't know why I keep saying then, right? Okay. So while this is going on, once the ladle stops, the lungs, there's a lining, a gold lining of the lungs appears in my head, and I see it plastering and outlining his lungs. It's like, it's outlining the lungs on the inside, and it's healing the lungs, and it's absorbing into the lungs. And a couple of these rats go into the lungs like 4 times. And the last time the gold stands out, okay? Now, I'm hot, I'm sweating, don't know where this is coming from because it's kind of cold outside. The house is not hot. This is just my body heating up to help my dad. So once I'm done and everything goes through, my dad still doesn't look good. He still doesn't look like he feels better. So he sends me to the store. He asked me to go to the store, pick up some things for him. I run and do that. When I get back, this is the thing that blew my mind. When I get back from the store, my dad is up moving around. He's no longer hacking, coughing, and he's glowing. My dad was glowing gold. My dad is a dark-skinned man. How is he glowing gold? My dad looks good. You understand? So that is when I realized the healing sometimes does not happen right away. Sometimes it takes time to get through. And this is when I became an intuitive medical healer. I realized I could see the lungs. I realized I could see heartbeats. I realized I could see vessels. I could see blood. I could see everything going on inside of a human being's body. And when I learned these things, you guys, I started keeping track of the things I was seeing and people that was going through the issues and what that issue was. I started just keeping track of all these things because, I couldn't understand for the life of me how I knew these things and where they were and how I could see them. And I tell you, I have a bunch of books full of this stuff. I have a bunch of books of people that I've helped. I'm thinking about getting rid of the books because I don't want, some people are just don't want people to know that they came to me for help. But I'm thinking about getting rid of the books. But I'm telling you, this is when I became an intuitive medical healer. That day, right there, I started seeing the spine. I started seeing people having crust on the spine. I started seeing bones that were broke that people didn't even know were broke. They just thought they had a sprained wrist. It's just a lot of things changed. And that's what made me an intuitive medical healer. Get it? Okay. So now you know what went down, how I realized I was an intuitive medical healer, and how you can become one too. I am going to show you guys how to do this and how to heal yourself real soon. It's just that this is a process, and I don't want anybody to miss out on anything. So this is when I ask you guys to make sure you like, share, subscribe. So that's the end of my story. You guys have a wonderful day. Oh, and don't forget to follow me on my social medias at Intuitive Letitia on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you.